understanding of money from your mother who got it from her mother who got it from her mother. There's something about sort of passing things on that is really worth thinking about, not doing anymore. Some of it's wonderful, some of it not so wonderful, and you can tell by the way it feels. So it feels logical to pick up that stick and try to think about the money end of it. But if you are accustomed to thinking about the not enough money end of it, then you're just doing lip service. You're trying to smile the smile and say it right. And while it can be helpful to appreciate the abundance that you do have and notice those things, still, if you've got something stuck in your vibrational craw, it takes a little while for it to loosen up. So we've been saying, and this is helpful, to realize that in that pile where that stick is, there are other sticks. And on some of those sticks, with what is wanted on one end and the absence of it on the other, you're already vibrating on the end of the stick of what is wanted. You just said that to us. So many things in my life are going really well. So you could pick up many of those other sticks and focus on those or daydream about those. Your inner being is offering you thoughts about those things all the time. And an interesting thing happens. When you focus upon this end of any stick, all of the ends of all of the sticks are influenced because you're focused upon this end of the stick. Doesn't matter what the subject is, it just matters what your vibration is. Does that make sense? So if you are finding appreciation for this and this and this and this and this and this, but so many people are trying to solve the problem. So you keep focusing on the other end of the stick by trying to solve the problem, where if you were just focusing on the ends of the subjects of the sticks that feel good, that money stick would take care of itself. Really, it would. So we've been telling you that for a while, and most of you aren't getting a lot of headway with that, because what is what you're focused upon. So now consider this. Let's pick up the money stick. Let's hit this head on. But instead of it saying abundance on one end and absence of abundance on the other, let's put money on this end of the stick. Now, here's our reasoning. We're going to put it on the end of the stick that is like, if you've been noticing today, we're talking about the vortex and we're talking about unwanted more in these ways. And this is more like non-physical influence, and this is more like physical influence. And this is more like tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and under the influence of source. And this is more like under the influence of what is or what people think. You follow? So on this end of the stick, let's make it what is, what people think, how you feel. And let's put money on that end of the stick. But on the other end of the stick, let's put what your inner being thinks. Your inner being thinks freedom. Your inner being thinks exhilaration. Your inner being thinks choices, options, ease, flow. And can you see how when you think of those things, it doesn't activate the don't have enough money end? Can you feel the difference in that? That'll help you a lot, because there is so much appreciation in you. We can feel it, and ease and flow on so many subjects. And so what you're doing, you're just recalibrating this stick. You're just making this stick work for you, because you've been playing with this stick your whole life in ways that it doesn't work for you. And nobody can just all of a sudden, because we said so, say, okay, I'm just going to look over here. No, you're not. You're going to look where your habit of thought is. Now you see this stick differently, because things that are manifested, by that we mean the money in your bank account, your financial situation. That is a reality that you've been encouraged to focus upon. Every day, you got to know you can't spend more money than you've got, or you can't spend more money than your credit limit. And so it's something that you're aware of, but you're aware of it in a way that isn't serving you. This process will change your relationship with freedom, not money. With ease, not money. Oh, money will come, because money is the very best way to facilitate all of that. It's so portable. It's so exchangeable. You have this long practiced attitude of needing to prove your worthiness to source energy, who's never asking you for the proof. So when you set yourself up to prove yourself worthy to something that's not asking for the proof, you just get all out of balance. Look at it this way. Abundance is raining down on all of you. And it's like you've got umbrellas up, not letting it in. And then somehow you get feeling a little better and you put your umbrella down and some of the delicious abundance rains down on you. You go, whoops, sorry, I'm used to blocking that. It feels more virtuous to block it. I shouldn't let it in. It speaks to the money shortage consciousness that is rampant in your environment that most of you have been practicing for quite a while. It's like you think that there's this finite pie and that if you take a big slice of it, that you're depriving others of their slice of the pie. But that's not the way this energetic pie, this pie expands to the degree of your asking. The pie is enormous. If you could see this pie accurately, it's the biggest pie. Esther can't find words to describe the infinitely big nature of this pie. And as humans on the planet, you're eating a slice out of it that's so infinitesimal we can't even find a measurement small enough to talk about it. And you're worried about you taking too much of a pie that hardly anybody else has even dipped into at all. And because they don't seem capable of dipping into the pie, they're trying to get you not to either. Have you seen this pie? No, you haven't. We've seen the pie. We've seen the pie. It's time for you to start cashing in your vibrational chips, you see. And what difference does it make through what avenue it flows? You say to your children, most of them believe that their abundance flows through you because that's mostly how it starts out. And then they get this warped sense of what they deserve because often they have parents that don't have a big flow flowing. And so their parents teach them that there's no flow so that the kids will stop asking for things that the parents feel that they can't provide. Well, wouldn't it be lovely if once you understand this, if you could say to your child, oh, there's an abundant stream flowing and your flow doesn't come through me. My flow comes to me based upon what I allow, but your flow comes to you based upon what you allow. And your abundance does not flow through me any more than your clarity flows through me. Wouldn't it be interesting if you said to your children, oh, you can't have clarity about that because I've been confused about it my whole life. So there's no point in you even trying to figure this out because I was never able to figure it out. So you're not going to be able to too. Because the child would say, hey, you know, I get my thoughts. My thoughts come directly to me. And so does your abundance. It comes directly to you through the path of least resistance. Don't quibble with how it gets there. A lot of you are too much in your head. And part of that is because as you come into this teaching and you want to be a deliberate creator, we've talked about so many things and you're trying to do them all at once. What we really want you to do is to realize that you took care of it in step 1 and we took care of it in step 2, and now it's time for you to just chill and find out what you can let in. And stop trying to justify the good that's coming to you through the behavior that you're offering. And most of all, stop paying attention to what anybody else thinks about what you're doing. One of the early things that would come up in gatherings like this, people would say, as we would encourage them to meditate and allow their vibration to rise, we would say the thing that you're most going to notice is your sensitivity to your alignment is going to be keener, which means when you're in alignment, it's going to be sweet, but when you're not going to like it so much. It makes you more sensitive to what you're doing vibrationally. This sensitivity at first might be a little uncomfortable, but once you calibrate it, once you notice thought and feeling, and you get better at directing your thought, and what you discover that the better at directing the thought is not directing the thought, it's putting yourself in a position where you can receive the thought. It's a big distinction. Just decide that in this segment you're going to receive and that it's going to feel good. And stop thinking so hard. You know when you think hard? Sometimes after a gathering like this, you'll get together with friends who are here and who understand, and you just talk yourself into a hole. Just trying to figure it out. What'd you learn? Oh, I learned this and this and this. Well, just give it a rest. There are just a few things that you want to know. Do you accept that there is a vortex? Do you accept that your inner being is there
Yes.
and tending to it? And that everything that you want is all in the state of becoming? And that your work singularly is to tune into that? Well then, what's the big deal? What's the big deal, really? You don't know this completely, but we do. You know it's there, you sense it's there, you sense it's coming, some of it's already coming, and there's a whole bunch of people in your life that haven't figured this out, and you're trying to factor how they feel about what you're doing into the equation. So then you're explaining it and justifying it and talking it to death, and introducing so much resistance into your equation that you've got the whole thing all slowed down. When you open to this kind of energy, Esther and Jerry used to tease that they should put this on the disclaimer that you sign when you come in that says all the things that make this flow more easily. Oh, and by the way, you can't go back. You're going to tune in to who you really are, which means you're going to have to pay a little attention to staying up to speed with who you are, because you're not going to ever be able to stand not staying up to speed with who you are. Yeah. And so just be up to speed with who you are, and stop beating up on yourself and others, and stop needing the world to be different so that you can feel better, and stop needing your world to be different so that you can feel better. Just decide right now, under these conditions, I can feel good or not. That's all. Instead of saying, well, if these conditions were different, then I would feel better. That's how you introduce resistance to the equation. You can feel good. You can feel good. You can feel good.